and welcome to another episode of the Craftcast. It's actually the last one for 2020. I don't know if that should be celebrated or maybe a little sad. I'm glad to see 2020 is going out. How about you, Tim?
No, without a doubt. Well, I feel like most everybody else's this year can't go away fast enough.
If you don't know me, my name is Koren Wiskman, and I like to make videos in my basement with my husband. It's kind of weird.
Not those kind of videos.
We have an awesome episode for you today. We have Annabelle from Cartway Cards to teach us how to color hair and fur. And then I have a couple of announcements written down here to go over with everyone, because I've been spending a little bit of time online this week perusing, so I have some stuff that you guys might be interested in. And that's it. What else do we have going on?
Just give me any notes.
No.
No
notes for you.
All day I heard about how important it was and how bad you wanted this to go well, and I'm sitting here noteless.
I'm sorry.
I'm just saying.
Please forgive me.
Oh, it's your production.
I made notes, but I just didn't give them to you.
I'm just really, all I'm really doing is just hedging my bet here in the inevitability that something is going to go wrong, and I'm just trying to make it your fault right now, right out of the chute.
Okay.
We go with that?
Okay.
Cool. Hey, let's do a show.
A few things. Hi. And one, there is an awesome kind of fun, well, it's not awesome or fun really, because it's for a sad cause. Christmas for the Kirchners. I don't know these people. Okay. In fact, I didn't know who these people were until after the sad event. They lost their father. I guess his name is Colin. I've never met him, but his wife Lizzie is Dear Lizzie from American Craft, so I know of her product line, but I've never met her in person. And unfortunately, she lost her husband, and I think all of us can relate to that kind of sadness in your life. So without me, I'm trying not to be sad and cry saying this, but I personally, after learning of this sad event, saw what his purpose was in life was to keep kids off of social media and to educate them in better ways to deal with that. And I've learned so much. Okay, so if anything, good things are coming or have come from his passing, even if it's just in this one household. He also loved to promote the 8-second hug, and I am a firm believer in that. I think that is a wonderful connection to human beings.
You all right?
Sorry. And so they're having an auction, and there's all these fun crafty things being auctioned off. And so I wanted to give you guys the information so you could check it out, and so it's in the description box below. Let's move on to other things.
You want to move on?
So, also, there is a giveaway over in Procrastination right now. If you don't know what Procrastination is, it's a private Facebook group that I have just for card makers and crafters to share their projects and to be inspired and to talk about crafty things. And it's called Procrastination, so I've also left information in the description box for that. I get asked often about how to do a job on social media, or how to increase or get followers or get all of these things on social media. So I am not the person to ask, because I don't follow the rules, okay? I'm a rule breaker, so I know what the right thing to do is, but I don't follow the rules. So if you would like to learn and be inspired by someone who also has a career or a job on social media, and you have questions about branding or posting or how to post or how to make your pictures better, this girl, her name is Angie Belmar, and she's Canadian, and she loves Disney, so I've talked about her before. She has a YouTube channel called Angie Belmar Vlogs. It's also linked in the description box. but she has in October posted a daily video to inspire you in social media in creating your or upgrading your business or being inspired or being motivated to continue. And I just think it's called The Daily Grind, and I think it's an awesome thing for you to watch. And she did it every day for the month of October, and I haven't watched them all, but I've watched enough for you to know that that is definitely something to watch, to be motivated and inspired to have a business online, which is really hard for some people, especially now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, she gives really great advice, and she's super motivational.
And, before you get too far off of that, too, I think it's also important that, and we talked about this a little bit this morning between the two of us, if you guys are trying to get a job, and I apologize that y'all can't see me, but if you're trying to get a job on social media or trying to get some type of an affiliation with a company that represents themselves on social media or might be wanting your social media platform to integrate with theirs, you have to understand that there are eyes and ears on every social media platform, and anything that you write, anything that you post, it has an impact, it has an effect on how that is perceived. Your political opinions, your religious and personal opinions really can have that kind of thing, and there's a way to display and have that type of stuff as part of your social media platform without being without crossing that line, so to speak. So basically, at the end of the day, just try to be nice. Be nice on your social media platform. If you want folks to to come to your social media to want to interact with you or have you work with them in any kind of meaningful capacity, they have to like their destination. They can't come in and have it be a caustic environment. That's all. I'm done.
Yeah, and he's mostly saying that because social media can be very toxic, and we've talked about that before. So just realize that what you say online has an effect on people, and try to be kind. And when you're looking for, because I get asked a lot, how do I get on a design team, or your online reputation does in fact have a impact on that, okay? So you always want to be kind, because you don't know who you're talking to or who's reading that, or who might be affected by what you said in a negative way. So I'm not trying to censor anyone or that, but there's just been a lot of dislike, and I know people are feeling that right now. So let's try to just always be in a positive, kind manner online. I think that's what Tim is trying to say.
Who's Tom?
And that's actually my stepdad. There's no other guy named Tom.
I was really only joking. I know who Tom is.
Okay, also, today marks the end of one of the Daily Marker, Kathy Rack. She's the Daily Marker, and she does the coloring challenges. And usually they're for 30 days, but recently she's decided to do them more often and for smaller periods of time, I guess, to make them more consumable. For people I know, I can't do all 30 days. I didn't do any of this challenge. I'm just telling you guys because it is a really fun challenge, and it gets you to color every day, and coloring is soothing and relaxing, and I love her coloring challenges. I also love her road trips. So for more information on her coloring challenge, her information is also in the description box below. I think that was my list. Where are we on time? I did pretty good.
You did really good. We're 12 minutes in. You're doing just fine.
I wanted to leave as much time as possible for my guest today. Her name is Annabelle, and her blog is Cartway Cards. And we had to bring the time down a little bit from 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock because she's over in England and it would be like 2 o'clock in the morning over there. So we gave her a little bit of a break, So please welcome Annabelle to the Craftcast. Annabelle, can you hear us?
Hi, yes, I can hear.
We love your fur.
Wow.
Your hair
you just
and fur
went straight at it, didn't you?
That I've ever seen. She started sharing her projects on procrastination, and I just every time you share something, it amazes me how glassy the eyes look, how lifelike these images appear. And I'm not a realist type of colorer. I try to do my best. But when you color something, it almost like really brings them to life. And so I had to have you come teach me the fur.
That's super kind of you. I love colouring fur. It's my favourite.
Tell us about yourself. Give us an idea of who you are.
So I'm in the UK. I used to work in IT and then rebelled and went to do crafty stuff instead. Um, I, I got involved with online colouring with my friend Helen, and she very kindly invited me to help admin her DT that she had, because I thought that was a really kind offer, and actually it was a lot of work organising people to do stuff. And she used Copics, which are still completely beyond me. I'm useless with them. But I really enjoyed doing it all in pencil, and that's how I started doing it all in pencils. And I'm looking down because that's where all my pencils are in a chaotic state.
And all your pencils. He walked away from the operation.
I needed a piece
Right when
of
you
cheese,
stopped
man. Look, yo, I was letting her talk. I was just coming over trying to get a little snack.
I
so
should have known better. I left the cheese out.
Look.
So, when did you, what is your process, though? You sent me the image that we're coloring today. Now, I don't do digis. I started doing digis way back years ago, like in 2013. Like right when I had Dex, I was on a digi design team. And it was okay. I liked it, but there's something different about stamping than printing your image that I'm really drawn to.
Yeah.
And so I don't really, I have digis, I have them, I will buy them, and sometimes I will color them, but mostly I don't. So when you sent me the image, I really had to figure out how to print it. What is your process for printing this image?
Well, I use Paint Shop Pro to print stuff off. However, you can do it in Word. It doesn't matter what you print it off in. If you want to create a complete topper to print out in one go with your sentiment on and stuff, it gets more complicated. But you can just pop it into a Word document and resize it to whatever you want and print it out. So to print them out is quite easy. And if you're being thrifty, you can do several on a page and print out, a couple of days worth of colouring or something. Or for me, a couple of weeks worth of colouring or something. So, I wouldn't be put off from using them.
I used Procreate. So I took the image that you gave me and put it in my iPad. And then I have different screen sizes, so I just went to the paper size. And then that's how I sized it based on what I wanted the image to be. And then I layered it because what you said to me, which was a really good tip, was to print a full image right next to a more opaque image.
Yeah.
So that you could color the one that is no line, but have a reference right next to it. So that's what I was doing. Yeah,
because you lose all the details as you're colouring. Things go, especially on this image, like whiskers and stuff. Not a clue by the other image where my whiskers were, so I need reference all the time. For every digi I do a reference.
Yeah, that's a really great tip because I never used to do that. I just used to print out what I needed. And then, cross my fingers that I didn't screw it up.
Yeah.
And then I have to reprint it.
Yeah.
But, so Procreate was really easy, and then I just did 2 different layers and made one of the layers more opaque.
Yeah.
So it was super simple. And then I printed it on Nina Desert Storm. Why do you choose this cardstock?
Because it was one that we both had.
Oh.
Quite...
Do you typically use this one? Because I see your cards a lot, and usually it's Desert Storm.
It's called Hessian Buff.
Oh,
it's very like Nina, very, very similar, but it's smoother. And that's really the only difference.
So I've heard that when you're coloring with colored pencils, you want something with a little bit of tooth, but you prefer something more smooth.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know. It might be a polychromo thing, but I don't really want too much tooth. I want it to get nice and solid and flat and oily as fast as possible. So if
Okay.
it's too toothy, that bit takes ages.
Oh, okay.
And I already
So-
go slowly.
So, Tim, do you want to show what I've got so far?
Sure.
Um, where are you starting, Annabelle? You told me to color part of the scarf and the
Yeah.
eyes. I've got the ears and the nose. And the colored pencils that we are using, the list of them is in the description box. We do
Yeah.
have a last minute edit, I think.
Yeah, sorry, yeah. 223 is 225.
Yeah, 223
on the scarf.
in the red combo is now 225. But I used
Yeah.
223 on this already that I colored.
I think it's the difference between dark red and deep red. It's
Yeah.
not huge.
It'll be an interesting to see the difference, actually.
Yeah.
But here's my one that, and then I started, because you gave me these colors, right? And I'm like, I'm like looking at them like, what am I supposed to do with these? This one's really dark, and then this one's really white. And I use maybe 3 colors when I color.
Okay.
So this is what you have to start with, Annabelle. See what you signed up for.
I started with a box of 24 and just did those 24 for ages. I didn't need any other colours at all. It's only recently that I've branched out into a few more colours because they are there and I should use them.
Yeah, I have the whole set.
Yeah, I don't even have the whole set.
And I also wanted to take note and show everyone that the image, the start of the image, okay, isn't really like a completed image. Like, you'll notice that the tail is kind of not the same. Like, we're going to add in fur that kind of brings out this image. It's a little too, I don't know, what would you say, like roundy?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, smooth, all roundy. I'll go roundy.
Too roundy. It needs to be more
Far
lifelike.
too roundy.
So what's the first step? What are we supposed to do first?
I think you
Well,
do things to
I
be abrasive
would-
to me.
Do you want me to put the video on mine?
Sure. Yes.
Okay, hold on.
We can
A
look
seamless
at me.
transition.
We can look at my cat, my kitty.
Okay.
And if you want this image, the image is available in her Etsy shop, which is also linked below. So if you
Excellent.
want to color along, you can find the image there.
Yeah, pimp my wares, please. That's kind of you. Okay, well, let's start on. I always start from the most low point of the cat. So fur is in layers, and the layer at the bottom is covered by the layer above and the layer above that. So we start at the bottom of the cat. So we'd start with paws. Is that
Okay.
all right? So I would take in a white pencil, which is super sharp, and I only do fur with a super sharp pencil.
Uh-huh.
Sharpening your pencil becomes annoying and aggravating quite quickly. You just have to relax into the trauma of the white pencil sharpness.
Okay.
And then with little flicking motion, you're going to do lots of little lines from top to bottom down. So you're making a row of hair.
Annabelle,
You
can you
just
move a
off
little
camera,
bit
Annabelle.
up so we can see you? There you
There
go.
you
Yeah.
go.
So you do a little row of lines.
Oh wow. Okay.
And then you do the next layer up. And then you do the next layer up. And as we're coming a bit roundy, which is our word of the day, as we're coming a bit roundy, change the direction slightly of your hair so it starts to be a little bit curved. Like if it was a real creature, it would be with the shape of the creature.
You'd have roundy hair on a
That's
roundy
that paw
cat.
done. Okay, so then you do the same with the other paws. So start with your base layer,
Uh-huh.
going round, start with your next layer up. And now I've got to stop because my pencil is not sharp enough anymore. See it?
Yeah, I think I started with too dull.
I've cheated and I've sharpened some whites in advance.
You gotta
So I'm
drink
going for the
every
next
time we sharpen the pencil.
Polychromo bingo. Great. So on this paw, the paw's a bit more, the claws are a bit more curvy. So as I'm doing my first row of lines, I'm a little bit more curvy. And then the next row on top. And then the next row on top. And then there's only a little bit of the fourth paw you had to draw in afterwards because I realised I'd forgotten to draw it. Okay,
Uh-huh. I'm with you.
you with me? Okay, so on the hip of the cat, I'm going to go hip, it might be knee, I'm not sure. On this bit, the fur on a hip on a real cat actually comes out at that point and goes in the air a bit
Right?
and then comes around. So you can see I've completely ignored the line ditch the line,
Right.
go over the top of it, and now I've got a. Can you actually see the layer of white that I'm putting down?
I can.
Oh,
That's
excellent.
saying
Okay.
something.
So the next layer, follow the same kind of shape round in a semicircle. Keep going round until you're right back to the tail. So it looks a bit weird, but the hair on a real cat does that thing at the hippish point.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I think I'll probably do the tail next. So you're going to go from the lowest bit of the tail upwards, which is the tip of the tail, is the lowest bit of a tail, weirdly, but that's where the lowest bit of hair comes out. So I usually would turn. Am I still in the right place? I'd usually turn and start here, or it hurts my brain to work out what bit's at the bottom.
Uh-huh.
And because it's the tail and it's longer fur, do longer strokes. So I'm doing long white strokes.
Okay.
And as soon as my pencil, which is now getting dull, becomes too thick, I'm onto a new pencil, so I'd sharpen my pencil.
How many white Polychromo pencils do you own?
Currently 8. How many have I bought? Far more than 8. Right. Next layer round.
You do this very fast. Just so you know, you're going much faster than me.
I swear to you, it's scribbling. It's literally just a set of quick lines down in a direction. But as you can see, I'm following the curve of the tail as it goes round.
Uh-huh.
So at this point, I'd turn my paper again so I'm not confused by what's going on. And then do more lines. And I do this process until I have white cat all over.
Are people with us in the live chat?
I think they're all mesmerized. And I am kind of like bouncing it back and forth so that you can see the difference between Annabelle's production and yours.
Well, don't look at it.
Okay, I'm out of that pencil.
My goodness.
I buy 10 white pencils for every other pencil.
I do have 2, but I probably, I think I have 3 of the 273 color pencil.
Yeah.
That's the one I use with my Copics. I haven't picked up my pencils much. Clearly, I should do it more.
It's just as therapeutic, but it's much, much slower. Copics are just amazing for speed. I've reached into my tail. How are you getting on?
Well, your tail looks like a white cat's tail.
Yeah.
Mine does not look like that. It looks like I scribbled some lines.
It's loud, so I'm gonna do some tummy just to show the layers again.
Okay.
So lowest bit of tummy.
To the tummy.
On this bit.
Eva would like to know if you always leave a little bit of space between the strokes. Is that the idea?
Sometimes a weird thing happens and my lines all start to join up, so it becomes stripes. But I don't know why that happens. That's a non-conscious problem with doing it. But yeah, generally it just becomes random.
I don't know what happens to my brain when it comes to coloring fur or hair. I don't know. Like, I can brush my own hair, but when it comes to putting hair on a person, like, that's a stamped image, I can't do it. And when I'm done, it looks like they've been electrocuted. Much like this poor cat that I'm coloring.
It doesn't look great on the first layer of fur. You have to go with the flow and hope it gets better.
We're going with the flow.
But yeah, it's slow. It's a slow process, and it's building up layer on layer on layer of lots and lots of lines.
Right.
But it's not technical at all. It's literally just lots of lines following the contour of the creature or thing that you're colouring.
How often do you color over top of something else? Like, because hair, it goes over top of the scarf, or it goes over, it breaks the line.
Yeah. I would, as I start to go in the slightly darker colour, I will go over everything.
Okay.
I will go over where his paws are on the snow. They'll have to have hairs over the top of that. On the scarf will need hairs over the top of it. But just more white layer is just, I don't know, it's kind of forming a stripy, resistant texture underneath your other colouring. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, thank you for lying to me.
What are we colouring now? Are we
the rest of the cat? Is your cat white?
Have we done belly? And so we've got on the right hand side of this little bit that's sort of like a crescent is the other hip. So we have a bit that goes off up into space and then round. So up and round.
I need to sharpen my pencil again.
Yeah.
Do you need me to
that
do
is an
that
annoying bit of it.
No, I have this one, but I don't typically use this one.
Do you have another one that we could
but I
cycle?
don't know where it is. That's why I have this one. So I can't kind of send you on a hunt. Sorry.
How about pressure? Is there a light, heavy, medium? As far as how much pressure you're using?
Because you're using a super sharp tip all the time, you can't press that hard. But I mean, they're positive and definite strokes. It's not fine. I'm aiming to saturate that paper as fast as possible. It's not a timid process.
The piece that is more to the inside, how did you color that one? Just straight down?
Just the same as this, yeah, straight belly. Going from top to bottom.
Okay.
Okay, so on his face, cat's faces have fur on them that goes sideways around the sides of the face and then go downwards on his chin. So if we start on his chin, I would do little work because it's quite short hair around his chin, but I would go over the top of the scarf and then do little layers straight across right up to his mouth line. Do a little chin, like a little goatee. Is yours going well?
It's going.
Okay.
I'm suddenly really bummed that we can't zoom in any tighter on that down facing.
On mine?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And then the other bits on the cat are sideways, so I turn for this bit.
Okay.
And on their cheeks, you can go a bit longer because it's longer fur on the cat's cheeks. You can go over the lines and just follow the curve round, but it's a sort of a sideways direction.
So do you look at cat photos as reference for when you color?
If I'm doing a color scheme, I always print out pictures to like rob the natural way for. So if I was doing something like a leopard, I would print out a picture of a leopard. I can't do that sort of texture without looking at it. But I have cats, so when I look at my cats, I'm constantly scrutinizing them for where their fur's going. They don't care. And then you go right up to the nose, around to give him his little cheek. And the bit that goes between the eye and the nose, they have like quite a sort of square nose, so I would keep going sideways right up to that. And you can go a little bit over the eyeball as well, because they have bits that go across. Then I would turn again. And so on their heads, all of this would be our lowest point, and it goes all the way down to the nose. So I'd go all the way around again in a big sweepy arc. Just lost my pencil nib again.
So the biggest thing I'm kind of taking away from this is that the orientation of your image in reference to where you're coloring it is everything.
Yeah,
it's just yeah.
I think that
I mean, really, that seems to be the key to the whole thing is making sure that that's getting layered in the right direction, in the right orientation.
The direction of which you're drawing your hair, because I don't know which direction. A little crazy.
No, but I think that's the point is the reason why it looks more real when I do it is because the hair's going the way the hair should go. I think. I'm not sure. But yeah, so I would then so I'd do his head, and I'd keep going around the head, so it's all coming round in a circle all the way around his head. Sorry, I'm wobbling my camera. I haven't got enough room.
I feel like there's no hope for me.
Honestly, it's just scribbling. You're doing good.
Are you starving, dear?
Is it that obvious? I keep rating the cheese and pretzels. I'm sorry. We didn't have time to eat anything but a giant brunch today.
We did have a good brunch.
It was good.
Do you ever color a base of a color before you start doing the hair, or do you just start doing hair straight away?
I do everything that would be on the cat underneath the hair first. But yeah, I just do white on whatever colour. So even if I was colouring a cat on white, I would still do this layer of white hair on it. It makes the texture underneath the other colours. But I don't know why. There probably is science. There probably is science and training and knowledge on those things, but I just do it because it works. Are you ready for an ear?
Are we going for another color?
No, we're just going to finish the ears and then we're done. You'll be
okay.
really pleased to hear.
All right, let's
So
do it.
ears are, so we're going to start at, see, I have to turn it around to work it out, so I'm not very good at working it out. So you start at the tip of the ear and work down, and they come out from the ear. So I'm almost like avoiding, so I'm just going to try and get in 2 layers of fur like that. And then I can't do it backwards on the other side very well, so I'm going to do it that way around on that one. Disobeying all previous rules. Same on the other ear.
I'm not quite sure if the audience is going to accurately be able to see the look of concentration on your face, but it is a level of intense that it's seldom seen, I think.
Usually I contort in...
I mean, you're almost
With
like Michael
sorry.
Jordan with the tongue out, you know, driving the lane kind of thing.
We should finish watching that. I was enjoying that. We were watching... Do you know who Michael Jordan is, Annabelle?
A basketball person.
Yes.
Yes.
There's just a documentary on Netflix that we were watching.
Is it
About him.
about him?
Well, what was
Or
it
he's in
really
it?
about? Was it about him? Personally, I don't think so. Was it?
I mean, it was about so far it's about the basketball team, and how Chicago turned around once they signed him.
What do you like to watch on TV, Annabelle?
I'm trying to think if the words I want to say now are the banned words. Programs about crimes.
Oh.
That sort of bit dark, a bit like or Law and Order, those kind of
Okay.
things.
And CIS.
CSI and I quite like the more English nitty gritty ones and the Nordic noir type ones as well when we get those, though that's a bit subtitly. And what else do I watch? I watch a lot of YouTube. I am a YouTube person.
Me too.
I watch more of it than telly.
Me too.
And follow a lot of people on a very random set of subjects.
Yes. The same. What's
Yeah.
the most random subject that you watch about on YouTube? Like something just that would seem totally random.
I watch at the moment avidly the guy that's bought a ghost mine town. With all his money, he's bought an entire deserted ghost mine town. And he's sorting it out, building by building, brick by brick, and putting it back together again. He's amazing.
Really?
Yeah, it's incredible. I could send you a link to the first
Please
one
do.
to watch it. It's really good. So
Please
yeah,
do.
that's quite random. What do you watch when you're doing a bit of a random YouTube?
I don't know if it's... Oh, abandoned buildings.
Ooh, looking round them.
yeah, like they go and visit abandoned random stuff, like
Yes.
malls, and there's always like this story that they try to put behind it, but I think they're coming up with a story because usually it's lame.
Yeah.
But sometimes there is like really cool historical facts behind them.
Yeah.
I really like the Disney ones. Those are
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
cool. So, but you know, that's random.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that too. I have favourites of that, and I am, and now I know this is going to be taken badly. I'm not a Disney person, and I know that's a bad thing.
No, some people
But
aren't. That's totally cool.
the Disney guide ones that show you the best way to plan your day out at the park,
Uh-huh.
what you should and shouldn't eat, and where you should go, and your tips and tricks having a brilliant day.
Yes.
I could watch them, and never-endingly, they're fascinating.
Yeah, I watch them, but I watch them so that I can get good tips and tricks for actually going.
Yeah, I don't do that bit. I just could really plan a really awesome trip if I were to be going.
I do plan really awesome trips because I watch those videos.
Yeah.
So I totally know that we have awesome trips because I do the dirty work. I put the time in and find the good tips and tricks.
Yeah, it's a little ridiculous.
I don't bother you.
No. I mean that in the best of ways, because it's a ridiculous amount of work that I would never, ever, ever do.
Yeah. That's why there's travel agents.
And that's right. Yeah, I mean, I have you to do it, so I wouldn't ever need to. Thank you for not putting me in that position.
I was very diplomatic.
This is what 8-9 years of being together gets you.
And overall,
Are you ready for a colour?
Yes,
Do you fancy tail?
sure.
We're going to do tail. So I've got yellow 108.
Okay, me too.
Okay, we're going to leave the little bit at the end of his tail white, because often that's the thing.
Okay.
And then we're just going to do the whole tail following they don't have to be over the top. You're just going to do exactly the same as you did with the white, with the yellow. And you can do it quickly. It makes no odds.
she said, "Move your ass."
That's not what she said. Do you know, Annabelle, that Tim has a hard time understanding British accents?
And why is that?
Honestly, I have no idea. I don't understand.
I have.
Our employees are not American. Like they are Americans, but
They
God,
weren't
don't
born
get us in
here.
trouble.
I have one guy from New Zealand.
New Zealand, right? And they have pretty thick accents, and he has no problem.
It's
but
because
I bet you could sit here and say something, and he would struggle.
I've struggled with quite a bit,
Yeah.
and it's really quite
He was
easy
nervous.
to explain because I have tinnitus. I have ringing in my ears. Pretty, sometimes it's pretty aggressive, and a great deal of me being able to, hear things well is being able to see someone speaking, and when I can't see your face, I have a hard time putting the two things together.
Right. So
You understand a lot from visual clues. You
I
watch
really-
somebody's face to know what they're talking about. That makes sense.
It does, and we experience that now, like with everyone wearing masks. Like there's a lot
Yeah.
more, like, huh? What? I feel like my grandfather right now
Yeah.
because I'm always repeating myself or not. I can't hear things.
And yelling, "Get off my lawn!"
Yeah, not yet.
Okay, I've swapped to 109, so the
Okay.
next dark yellow. And I'm just going to do this one over the other yellow, but a bit more sporadically.
Okay.
So not quite as many per row. Done. What are we using next? 187 next, burnt ochre.
Got it.
This time we're going to do a bit of shade and stripes. So we're going to do shade first with burnt ochre. So we're going to have light coming in from this direction because that's easiest for me. So this bit of the tail would be in shadow, so we're going to do some of our lines in burnt ochre on the area that's going to be shadowed. And if I turn, probably the bit underneath the, sorry for the wobble, sorry for the bit underneath the scarf would be in shadow. And then as we're getting around to this side of him, probably the whole of this end of his tail would be in shadow. And then probably the underside of the tail would be a little bit in shadow, so I'm going to do a few darker fur lines underneath there. Okay, shadow in burnt ochre, very scruffy and sketchy. Are we feeling good with that?
I'm looking at yours like, look at that, that's amazing. Mine does not look like that.
Okay, stripes next on his tail.
Okay.
So I'm going to leave a little bit near the white and then go a little bit further down, and now still using the burnt ochre, put in a stripe going across. I'm going to do
It's
two
weird
lines
because
actually,
I'm watching her
quite
do
big
it,
stripes.
and I'm still not quite certain that I'm actually watching somebody do it.
Yeah, like
It's like I look away for half a second, I look back, I'm like, wow, that looks totally different than it did 4 milliseconds ago. What
weird,
is
this
the
is what I
difference
look at every
between
night.
Prismacolor and Polychromos?
Oh, Koren, you can do that one.
What was that?
I believe that Prismacolor pencils are wax-based,
That's true.
and Polychromos are not.
Oil.
Yeah,
They're oil-based.
I knew that.
Yeah, no, you did good.
Which I don't know. All I know is that when you're using Prismacolors, you can tend to get a waxy coating on your coloring, which prevents you from being able to add color more easily.
Yeah.
So
A bloom.
I tend to favor Polychromos because they're more blendable for that fact. Because I don't know if that's just because like I fancy myself still like a beginner, and I still need to spend a lot of time doing that, and I try really hard not to make it so waxy.
So should anybody believe anything you're saying about this?
Well, that's why I have Annabelle here.
Oh. Okay.
And I'm agreeing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I like them both, but it's very different. Polychromos are very different to other pencils. And when people give you top tips for pencils, often it doesn't apply to Polychromos at all, and it confused me for a long time. I couldn't understand why I kept breaking pencil sharpeners. I couldn't understand why I never got a wax bloom ever. I was very confused by it to start with.
Uh-huh.
But now it's just a lot easier.
Is there anyone on YouTube that you would tell people to follow that uses Polychromos and that gives good tips on coloring and all that jazz?
I haven't got anyone at the moment that I regularly follow because the people I did follow have gone. So I haven't got a replacement person to recommend. But if I think of one, I will post it on Procrastination. But yeah, a couple of the people I was following now don't do it, but they've either given up or just moved on. So I'm a bit without my special Polychromo person. Perhaps someone else knows one that I could follow on the chat.
Yeah, that would be awesome. If you guys in the live chat know of any Polychromo colorers that you enjoy watching on YouTube, please share it with us.
Yeah, that would be good.
Polychromos colorer.
Yeah. Well, these are by Faber-Castell. They're called Polychromos colored pencils. If someone's watching that doesn't know, and these are the oil-based ones that we were just talking about.
There's a really awesome video of seeing them being made in the factory, if you
neat.
like
I
how
didn't see
things are
that.
made.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. Okay, so I'm swapping on to 190, which is Venetian red. I'm going to do a little bit of that in the stripes that we've made. It's just that bit warmer. Not that much.
Fight. I cracked myself.
Well, I think it's funny. I enjoy it.
And then
It's coming along, hon. I mean, it's not just, supportive husband speak. It's starting to look more like a cat.
Uh-huh.
And then when we've done our stripes in our Venetian red, we move on to the walnut brown, which is 177. And then we're going to go a bit more gently because it's so much darker, but also still super sharp. And just do a very fine layer. And I would say my pressure is a little bit lighter because it's such a dark colour. And I don't want to go crazy or make a mess and not be able to fix it.
Right. So what can you do to fix it when you feel like you put something somewhere?
My biggest stumbling block constantly is if I'm doing, say, black and white, and I drag the black into the white and then have spots that I can't get rid of. So for that, I would use a sharp or very sharp pencil rubber, depending on how sharp you've sharpened it earlier. And then I would go onto the little bit that I want to get rid of and just get the drag mark out. But it's like it's for doing tiny mop-up operations, really. The other thing is polychromos are quite forgiving generally, unless you make a really big mistake. You can just get rid of them. I didn't believe that you can just get rid of coloured pencil with a rubber. I always thought it was just for normal pencils. I didn't know you could use it for any pencil, which is something that you can't do with Copics. So if you have a blodge, that's it. You've got a blodge to work with. But it's that old stick on a random embellishment thing, isn't it? So you can do that with pencils as well.
So yeah, we have a discussion question that I want Tim to put on the screen. And I have it to read. And you're a good person to have for this particular one. Pam, okay. My friend Pam, she's also a procrastinator. She said, where is it? So I can read it. Can I read it on screen? Oh, maybe do one with someone who has tips on coloring things in, maybe a discussion on Etsy, how easy it is to use, problems, and pitfalls. And that didn't overlay like we wanted it to.
It did not overlay. None of them overlaid, by the way. So just FYI.
We'll figure that
I abandoned the overlays, but I did want to leave that. And then there's this other one that I got like during the thing today, and I'll share that with everybody before we before we leave.
So you use Etsy, Annabelle. I've used Etsy in the past. I'm sure there's people in the live chat that have used Etsy. I have an Etsy storefront that I used to sell packs of syringes for glue.
Yeah.
And I've also tried to sell cards in there, but nothing other than that. So I don't have a whole lot of experience with Etsy, but from what so my limited experience, I have an opinion. Do you have an opinion that you want to share with us?
Yeah, I still think it might be the only place to have guaranteed traffic.
Yeah.
However, I wish there was a good alternative.
Right.
Because I can't afford to use Etsy anymore. They take too big a cut from me.
Right.
Because I sell lots of incredibly low priced things, right. Just their normal percentages mean that if I do a cheap stamp, I'm actually negative profit on it.
Right.
Because of all the money they take. And I wish there was the sort of an option for somebody that uses it, not a massive professional enterprise, but they don't seem terribly concerned with that anymore.
Right. It seems like they cater more to the larger businesses and not so much the smaller handmade crafter.
Yeah, basically.
That's kind of the same reason why I stopped doing it. I didn't do it to make money anyway. I did it so that people could have an easier way to experience these syringes. Yeah. Because it looks kind of scary. So I just put them in a more manageable bite, I guess. Yeah. But they're not made here in the U.S. They aren't, you can't get part of the products here in the U.S. And so it became so not worth it. Yeah. That I stopped doing it. Yeah. And so I think that's the story that I hear from a lot of people about it, is that the fees go up and then it just makes it so that you need to find another way. So, but it's a good way to start, I think.
Yeah,
it's very doing it and to reach people.
Yeah, and it's quite simple. It's simple to set up a shop. It's easy to list things. You can do it all from one place. That the slightly newer system they've got for doing all your admin on there is really easy to use.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it could be nice. It's just a bit. They've introduced this new thing where you automatically get signed into their off-site advertising campaigns.
No.
And they automatically put you in it. You have to take yourself out of it. And they take 15% of any sale that comes through the advertising campaign. So if you already lose the money to list it, the money to relist it, the money to buy it, the tax on it, they take the 15% you were getting, you now don't get that either. And I've had a bit of a recent experience with that, which is a bit frustrating. But I don't like it when Facebook did it as well. They automatically signed you up for stuff and you had to take yourself out of it rather than the other way around.
It seems like
I think that's a bit shifty.
Every other day. There's something else that I have to say. No, I didn't want that.
No.
I'm good. But as far as I like to use the platform to find handmade items and to find crafters, especially like when I'm doing my Disney planning. I love to purchase handmade ears. I've purchased parts to make my own ears. So it's a great place to look for things when you're looking for if it's something really specific or customized. So I like to use it as a patron, like to buy things, but I don't so much like to use it as a storefront anymore.
No, I think that's how a lot of people are feeling. I think you're not alone in that feeling.
I had tried to talk my grandmother into doing it with me because she seemed to have this abundance of hats and scarves and things that she had crocheted and knitted, and just she needed a way to get rid of them. And I had discussed it with her, but it's hard to communicate with her like photos of things and that aspect of it, so we never really quite got together with that. And I think she ended up going to...
2020 happened.
Yeah, and then 2020 happened.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen her since March. So, there's that.
Shall I show you how to do when you do hairs the other way round? To show you a little different thing. So on the layer that's the dark stripe on the tail that we've got in a dark layer, you can also colour the shadow backwards and up between the paler hairs. So you're colouring the shadowed rather than the hair. So you're more doing like a zigzaggy effect that's going backwards.
So you see at this point the hairs on your cat, okay? And you're coloring in between them. I just see lines.
Choose lines that look paler, that are look like they're going over the top of your darker lines. And then run a dark colour into those gaps.
Are you here to help me?
Don't be so timid.
I'm not making enough color.
Yeah. Like that's kind of what I'm watching her, and I can see her really, really closely over there on the monitor. And really kind of what she's doing is like right here where you've got this like thin spot, she's going ahead and dropping in some additional color in that interstitial spot and creating a banding.
And the easy way to show it's on the paws, so I'm going to imagine he's got white paws. And I'm going to find a dark grey. Which grey did I use? That one, I think. So I'm just going to sharpen up the dark grey and show you what I mean with the paws, because that might be easier to see. Okay. So on the paw, he's got white fur coming down. So I'm going to use my white pencil and I'm going to extend some of those coming down stripes. So here's a few white hairs going on the ground around him. And then with my grey pencil, I'm now going to go back in the gaps between those hairs. So I make it look more like the hairs are going over the top. Can you see what I mean?
Oh yeah, I'm
watching. You're a magician.
Same on here. So you could do this dark bit first, and then put your white bits in top. It's a bit more difficult doing it the other way around, but you can still do it. So but I'm not doing hairs. I'm doing the gaps in between hairs. but I'm not very exact. Did that make sense? Did it show better up on the feet?
I can, yeah, you can see it with the,
Oh,
with
yeah.
the dark gray.
So you like putting it on, having watched other people doing fur, they don't do this bit at all. So it gives you a solid line underneath what you're doing. I wish I could explain it better.
I think you're
But
doing
almost
fine.
it gives it an edge, which you've lost your edges as you've coloured, so it gives you an edge again.
Right.
But yeah, so I do it on the stripes as well, but it's much harder to see on the stripes. So the tail's not far off being done. How are you feeling about it?
I think it's hairy.
Do you want to do a bit of scarf instead?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So you've got your red scarf done, haven't you?
I do.
Oh, and
Okay.
there was a question a little while ago. I meant to get to it, but
Okay.
do you know off the top of your head what the colors you used on the scarf? If you don't, we can just refer them to the description box. But somebody did ask.
The scarf.
Oh, look at that! She's got it.
101.
She got it, babe.
121, 177, and then it says 223 in the description box, but we actually are using 225. We had a
Mishap.
a last minute sub 223 is on the IR. So, but yeah, I'm totally getting it now that you're doing it on the feet.
Yeah.
And creating that edge, like you said. I totally understand what you're saying, and that clicked with me.
Yeah. And I do that even on the cheeks as well. But let's shift to scarf as something interesting and new. So it's a scarf, and it's got all the shading already all coloured in, like it's made out of non-knitted material. I'll go for, but still material, so it has bends in it. And I'm going to do this big section. So you're going to draw a line with the flow of the fabric in 177. Does that feel good?
The one area that I didn't color.
Of course.
Do you want me to choose another bit? Should I do this bit?
Yes.
Okay. Draw a line in the same direction as the fabric.
Okay.
And then do stripes following that line all the way across, and now it's a stripy scarf.
Like a stripy scarf. Okay.
And then
The tension is building.
in each row, you're going to do diagonal lines coming down. So in this row, we're going to do diagonal lines coming down the stripe. But in the next row, we're going to do diagonal lines going up the other way in the stripe.
Like a chevron.
Is that yeah, chevron, that's the right word. So in the next one, it'll be down again. And the next one, it's up again. So you could say, why don't you just draw zigzags across in lines? And you could. And then I'm just going to have to sharpen my pencil. So you could leave it like that. I think that looks fine. However, if you want to make it a bit more knitting-ish, you make each diamond into an oval. So you scribble in an oval into each diamond.
And what was this technique called? Knitting-ish?
Knitting texture technique, for want of a better word.
Knitting-ish.
If you think of a better name, tell me.
Knitting-ish.
Knitting-ish.
I mean, I like it. You come on, everybody's just going to make up their own words today.
Like roundy.
Roundy knitting.
Roundy.
Okay, so that's it all over. And then I use a white pencil, doesn't have to be sharp. So maybe highlight a few of the knitting stitches. The word, isn't it? Job done. You can add shade to it as well if you want. So you would do 177, say, in all the dark areas, and then swap to dark red for the other areas. But it's not necessary. What do you think? It's easy, isn't it?
I think I need practice, but I think that I get the gist.
Yeah.
And that's something.
Annabelle,
you don't need to do the roundy bit either. You can just leave it as it is. It still looks like knitting.
Do you natively speak color number when it comes to the colored pencils? Like, do you just look at something and go, "Oh, that's 177," or
Um, no, because I don't use the numbers at all when I colour. I just look at the colours.
you just grab what you like?
Yeah, I do, and when writing down the numbers is extremely strange and foreign. But I do try, but I'm not very good at remembering to do it.
So I wasn't very good at it either, because the way I like to color is to just go over things similar to what you're describing and just grabbing colors.
Yeah.
So I trained myself to go back and keep all those colors and
Yeah.
then go back and list them based on whatever's in my mind. Okay. So my
Yeah.
color map might say like scarf red or tongue red or something like that. So I'm not sure if anyone else ever uses them, but they help me.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, why not? Well, you have your own system, don't you? It's only when you have to start to describe to someone else what you're doing, you're like, oh yeah, that's why they've got numbers. It's to make that easier, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
But when you're just doing it for yourself, what does it matter what you call them? You call them whatever you want.
And then
Like,
I don't
like
know
my
if anybody else can
223
see
just
this
gets
right
called
now,
where have
but
I put it?
look at where my
I don't
mouse
know.
is. Like, for real, it actually looks like the tip of this cat's tail is not attached to the piece of paper.
Yeah. It's amazing.
It's
and
really,
I'm watching her do it, and I'm trying
it's
to
really
copy
quite
exactly
incredible.
what she's doing, but she's just so much better.
It's just scribbling. I'm sorry. There's no magic. It's just doing scribbly lines.
I have been trying to just relax and not take it so seriously, because I really don't know about like light source. I know the concept. I've been through the classes. I even took a college class in drawing. But
Wow.
I'm not very, I haven't concentrated much on that. So when you're saying like the light source is coming from this, when I sit down to color, I don't even think about that.
Yeah.
I just want
That's
to color
alright.
the image and make it pretty.
Yeah. Well, I think that's fine. I don't. Why should you have to use light sources? There's no rule for that, is there?
I mean, if they get my card and they say, "Look at this light source. Where is the sun coming from?" I mean, come on, this cat. This is not realistic. Then they're probably not going to get a card from me anymore.
Don't you make cards that you have to send to a fellow crafter because no one else will get it?
Oh yes.
I think it's the same.
I have like artistic-y, because sometimes I like clean and simple, and it doesn't make any sense, the card. So I send those to my friends. I have a drawer full of cards, and everyone can come down here and grab cards whenever they want. They have free reign of the card drawer. But there's some of them that have been in there for a long time.
Yeah.
The early days.
Yeah, ye oldie cardies. Yeah, we've got some of those too.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Like, is there a time where you just throw them away?
Well, yeah, is there? I think people take them to thrift or charity, don't charity shop in the end. It's charity shop here, isn't it? So they like give it to charity. I'm like, well, that's a bit unfair. You've given the charity shop your most unsellable cards that make no sense.
Wants.
Yeah.
Well, I have a friend that owns a bakery, and she was selling them, which is far better than Etsy. If you can get a small shop in your hometown to sell your cards, that really works out, because you can just drop them off, and whenever work out a deal with the shop owner. And so, but who has the time to go peddling handmade cards?
No, it brings in that element of, at the moment you're doing it because you love doing it, but once you start to sell what you're doing, you're making your hobby into a business, and that's an old, do you want to do that or not?
Right. So, does anyone in the live chat have any Etsy type comments?
Nobody for Etsy. Mary just asked if we could zoom in on her ovals, and Annabelle's drifting just off the frame.
Can you show us closer, or maybe bring closer to the camera your texture, your ovals for the cable knit sweater, for the scarf?
I'm trying.
Hello,
Bear
kitty.
with me. It's a bit wobbly.
There you go.
Is that good?
That's magnificent.
I see the hair really well now.
The hair's really well. This is actually a really good shot. That's great.
Should I have started this close?
That looks really good. And I'm sure everyone can see that. Thank you. So they're kind of like, just stitches in your scarf. So if anyone has done crochet or knitting, that's kind of, that's what it looks like.
I just seen on somewhere on Instagram, and I'm sorry I don't know who's done it, has done a crochet version of it with the stitches like this and then lines in between, so it looks like I'm trying to is it ribbed crochet?
Yeah, and it's been so long since I tried that I couldn't tell.
Would you do the same?
Huh?
I'd like to see your hair.
Oh, you want to see my hair? I have a manual focus.
Oh, that's right. You can. Never mind.
So, do you want to take it off and then I'll refocus it down? Since we're going to be done?
Yeah, just set it down. I'll focus it here.
Because, I need new lenses. I need lenses with more power.
Put it on something more interesting than me. Use the switcher. One. Okay, then you're looking at us. 3 puts it back on Annabelle.
3. Oh, watch what Annabelle's doing.
Oh, this is all the way out.
Yeah, I told you that. So I was going to hold it close and refocus it.
Okay.
People can see.
So how are you going to hold something in...
Here, I'll hold it and you focus.
Neat.
There you go. And then hold it there. And I'm going to switch it over.
Camera 2.
2. Now, that's my hair. Everyone can see my hair and my sweater parts. And the face is really messed up. Don't look at the face. Just look at the tail. And the feet. I like the feet too. I think that's when I really started getting the whole shadow shading thing. But,
okay,
I hope everyone got a good lesson on how to draw hair or fur on your animals. Now, is it like drastically different when you're doing hair on a human, Annabelle?
Oh, I do beards the same. Oh.
Because your beards look amazing. Like
beards
you
do
just did a
exactly
card
the
with
same.
3 wise men, and it looks amazing.
It's the same, and conifer trees are the same, and feathers are the same. It's just exactly the same thing.
I want you to come
Different
back
colours.
and teach us all how to do eyes.
Okay.
Because
I'm not very good at eyes.
Are glassy. All of the eyes, like, I get mesmerized when you share cards with us. So I just want to thank you for coming and hanging out with us on the Craftcast and teaching us how to do fur.
Thank you for having me.
Sweater parts. And I want to say that our next episode, December, we're not going to have the Craftcast because we're going to take a break. But I want everyone to stay tuned for 2021 because we are going to continue doing the Craftcast. And I have some fun things coming up that are planned with Gina. Gina's going to come, and Jeff Lindbergh is going to come and hang out with us. And Sarah Scraps I have on the calendar. So, and also if you want to be featured on Procrastination you have a certain skill or talent that you think would be interesting to share, please email me, contact me, let me know, and maybe we can work something out, because I love to see and try new things. So if you have something to share, I'd love to hear about it. Also, in the auction for the Karchners, am I saying that?
Karchner, I believe, is how you pronounce their name.
Lisa, she was on the Craftcast earlier this year. She has these ornaments that are also in the auction. So there's people like Jennifer McGuire and Gina Kay are up for auction for an hour of time, I think, on a Stamp and Chat, and so many other wonderful things. So I hope you check that out. And any other questions? Look how pretty it is. Oh, camera 2.
Yeah, there you go.
Very pretty. This is what Lisa did. This is with done with gouache and watercolor. So, anything else? Any high hopes?
No, I think folks are happy with your first attempt at the.
I'm going to continue to practice coloring hair, especially the faces, because Maybe I need to look at some pictures first. I think that would help. Like if I saw a cat face with the hair, I would know, like which direction it should go.
Or
I need to
maybe
look at more cats.
draw something that has like a really aggressive fur pattern, like a raccoon. You know what I mean? Something that has a really definitive and really aggressive fur pattern.
You think raccoon's fur is aggressive compared to a cat?
Have you ever seen a raccoon?
I guess. Yeah.
Lord. Oh, Lord.
I try not to study them. But anyway, thank you all for joining us, and until January.
Yeah. Until January. Have the good, safe, happy rest of 2020.
Have a great holiday. Enjoy lots of family time, whatever you can get safely. And that's it.
And thank you, Annabelle, for joining us.
Thank you.
We will see y'all next year.